What are the best apps that you can use for planning, outlining, writing, and editing your essays? Hi there, my name is Brian Collins. Welcome to the Become a Writer Today channel. Hope you enjoy the content in this video where I do a dive into some essay writing apps you may or may not be familiar with. If you do, hit thumbs up. If you want to get more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Now, first up, some background. So I'm a big fan of essay writing. In fact, I spent a few years taking a series of creative writing classes where I wrote a lot of personal essays, personal non-fiction essays. And I've also completed several different college courses over the years, and a key part of any college course or academia is writing essays that you're going to submit to a tutor or for publication or for review by your peers. And I'm also a little bit nerdy about writing apps, so I do love testing all of these apps to see which ones are the best for writing, editing, and so on. So I'm going to talk about some of the apps that I wish I'd known about and some of the apps that I rely on today. First up, I recommend anybody who's writing an essay have a good outlining app. There are two different outlining apps that I would recommend to writers and essayists today. One is called Workflowy, which is a tool for creating bullet points and for organizing your creative projects, and it's used by journalists, authors, and so on. If you don't like Workflowy, there's another option called Dynalist, which works quite similarly, has similar features, but it just handles the way it does outlines a little bit differently. Both apps are relatively affordable. In fact, you can try the free version of Dynalist and accomplish pretty much everything that you need for your essay, or you can try Workflowy, and I think at the time of recording this video, it comes in at a relatively affordable $4.99 per month. Unfortunately, it'll run out of bullet points in the basic version. The reason why I recommend you use an outlining app for your essay is you're writing non-fiction. When you're writing non-fiction, it's pretty hard to turn up in front of the blank screen and look at a flashing cursor. Because how can you write non-fiction if you don't know what you're going to say? On the other hand, if you use an outlining app, you can plan the structure of your essay in advance. So for example, if I were to write an article or an essay that explains how to write a literature review, this is actually an article that I've assigned to another freelance writer, but I could use a outlining app to do just that. And why I like these outlining apps is that I can move around the bullets that I'm going to hit inside of my essay. I can also indent them with some additional points that I want to hit, and then that will help me get a feel for what the structure of my essay should look like. I also like these types of apps because they help me think through the topics or ideas or stories that I want to hit inside of my essay without actually taking the time to write the sentences. In other words, it helps with the planning and developing the overall structure for the essay in question. And again, of course, because it's an app like Workflowy, I can dive into individual child nodes and I can elaborate on individual sections inside of the section for the essay in question as well. So what I would encourage you to do is to pick an outlining app like Workflowy or Dynalist and use it to plan or outline your essay in advance. Now, the only caveat to using an app like this is sometimes it can take a little bit of time to switch from writing an essay normally in Google Docs to planning it with an outlining app like this. If you're serious about writing essays, then you need a way of organizing your notes and for reviewing all of your notes at a glance for your essays. Evernote has been around for years and is particularly popular. Although it got a bit laggy a few years ago, they have fixed some of the lagginess issues in Evernote with some recent updates. It costs €7 per month, so do translate that into dollars. And you can use it for everything, as you can use it as a to-do list, and you can also use it as a repository for your research and for your ideas. If you're looking for something a bit more lightweight and affordable, then consider Bear. It costs $1.49 per month, $1.49 per month, but it is Mac only. And I've used Bear as well as Evernote, and I found Bear is still a little bit faster and snappier, so it is a good alternative. You can, of course, just use the note-taking app in your computer, that is Apple Notes or Google Notes, if you wanted a way of managing your notes, but you're not too concerned about any fancy features. If you're going to take essay writing to the next level and you're serious about your research, I recommend you build a personal Zettacasting. If you're not familiar with what a Zettacasting is, it basically involves capturing notes and ideas and research in one place, and then summarizing all of these notes, research and ideas in your own words, and then interlinking each one of these notes. It's a type of atomic writing, and it's something that would be difficult to explain in this video, and I do have other videos in the channel all about it. But if you're looking for something for your Zettacasting, then you have two options to consider. One is Obsidian, which is relatively affordable, and you can use this on Mac or on Windows, and also on the App Store and on Google Play to build your personal Zettacasting. Or if you're looking for something that's a bit more, I suppose, polished and suppose, purpose-built. You can use Roam Research, which costs $15 per month, but there is a bit more of a learning curve to Roam Research. Personally, I prefer Obsidian, but Roam Research does have a cult following as well. Now, that said, you don't need to use either of these apps or build your personal Zettacasting. It's probably something for people who take essay writing a little bit more seriously. The next app you're going to need is one for actually writing your essay. And you can use Word or Google Docs to do just that. Personally, I prefer Google Docs as I prefer the writing experience inside Google Docs. But if you have a Word subscription, that's good too. These apps have gotten a lot better at handling long form essays. That's thanks to the outline section on the left hand sidebar. So I actually went ahead and imported an entire book that I published a few years ago called The Power of Creativity into Google Docs. And you can see here that it's recognized all of the subheadings as individual sections in the book that I can navigate to. So you can use an app like this to write your essay, and then if you need to share the draft with somebody, Google Docs is probably the best way to do it. Of course, you can do some of this with Word too, but personally I've gravitated more towards Google Docs over the years, and it's free, which makes it a really good choice for essayists. When I wrote my thesis, I didn't actually use Google Docs or Microsoft Word. I actually used the writing app Scrivener. Scrivener is popular with novelists, storytellers, screenwriters, and also essayists, and I found it was great for my thesis. It was available for Mac OS and Windows, and at the time of recording this video, it costs €53, so do translate that into dollars if you're in the United States, and it's available on all platforms. I have open on screen a Scrivener project file for a 60,000 word book. Now, you might not be writing an essay or a series of essays that long, but I have this open so you can see some of the key features which could help essayists. So if you're writing an essay, chances are you have a lot of different research to organize. Well, the good news is you can actually drag your PDFs, your notes and your ideas into Scrivener, and then you can manage all of it within one single file, and that can be game changing for writing essays. Not only that, but you can have two tabs or two windows open. So if I click this button here, I could select a section in my essay that I'm writing, and then on the right hand sidebar, I could have a section called Research Notes, and then I could just start pasting in key ideas for the chapter. So this can be helpful if I have some notes or a PDF that I want to refer to while I'm writing the essay in question. Scrivener is also useful for essayists because you can actually view the individual sections in your essay in a couple of different ways. So you can view them as index cards, so you could sum up the key sections in your essay in index cards, or you can view them as a title and synopsis. So the title could be the title of the key section in your essay, and the synopsis could be the key idea that you want to hit. And then you can set a status for each one of these sections. Now, if all of this is overwhelming, don't worry, you don't need to do any of this inside of Scrivener. It can simply be enough to have a couple of different files inside of Scrivener, and then you can drag and drop these around as you see fit to help you with the structure of your essay. And then, of course, you can export from Scrivener to Word or to Google Docs before you send it or before you submit your essay. Now, I get that a app like Scrivener may feel a little bit overwhelming. Another option that's popular, but which is Mac only, is called Ulysses. And you can also use Ulysses to write and manage your essays in much the same way as Scrivener, but it doesn't have the same learning curve. The only downside is, or upside, depending on your approach, is that it's a Markdown writing app. If you're not familiar with Markdown, it's basically a way of writing for the web. Quickly and easily. So if you put in one hashtag, it's formatted as H1. If you put in two hashtags, it's formatted as H2. And then you can produce the output as a PDF, as a Word doc for submitting to your publication or to your academia or institution, as a HTML file, or on the web. So you can see here, this is formatted as a H2 with two hashtags, and it's formatted H2 in the doc. You can see here it's got quotes, and it's got footnotes as well. So you can actually use this to manage your citations too. Now, I've used Ulysses extensively and I've reviewed it in detail on the Become a Writer Today channel, so I'd encourage you to check out that review. If I was writing an essay today, this is probably the app that I would use because it's a little bit faster and more user-friendly than Scrivener, but both are great. That said, Google Docs is good too, so do find one that fits in with your essay writing workflow. If you're serious about writing essays, particularly if it's for academia, then citations is something that you're going to be concerned about. Because if you incorrectly cite your work, you could be accused of inadvertent plagiarism, and it's not good practice. Now, I don't know about you, but when I was writing essays, I always found citations a pain. I'd always worry if I put in the full stop in the right place or the year in the right place or formatted them correctly. So what you really need is a citation manager. You can use an app like Papers, which is purpose-built for importing all of your journals, literature notes, books, and so on, and then will spit out a citation that you can copy and paste into the bottom of your essay. The time of recording this video, it's relatively affordable at $3 per month. Now, it's also available on Mac and Windows. If you're not ready to use a purpose-built tool for your citations, there is something that you can use quickly and easily, and it works via the web. It's called Quillbot, and Quillbot is a plagiarism and grammar checker and citation generator. I've reviewed it extensively on the channel, but I just wanted to show you how citations work. So here is an article from the Irish Times, which is a newspaper in Ireland, and I'm going to just copy the URL and I'm going to paste this in here, and then I'm going to click Cite, and down Quillbot will give me an opportunity to put in the first name and last name of the journalist. So I'm going to put in their name. And then I'm going to click Save Citation. And now I can copy this citation and go over to my essay, if this was the first notes for my essay, and just paste this in at the bottom. And you can see here it's correctly formatted. And of course I can pick the style guide for my essay as well. So whether you use Papers does this too, by the way. I don't have a premium subscription at the moment, but I did use it with a thesis several years ago. Or an app like Quillbot, which costs $20 per month to get this. Both of these will help you spend less time on citations and more time improving the quality of your essays. Before you submit your essay for publication, I'd encourage you to do two things. Check it for instances of inadvertent or accidental plagiarism, because it can happen. You may have paraphrased somebody and forgot to cite them. And also check it for grammar and spelling mistakes, and not just with the dedicated grammar checker inside Word or Google Docs. What you actually need is some software like Grammarly or Pro Writing Aid. And this is what I use for most of my writing today, and also for checking work by other writers. So you can, once you paste something into the Grammarly app, it'll quickly give you some suggestions of things that you can improve, and you can review all of these suggestions and fix them quickly and easily. Alternatively, you can just install the plugin for Chrome and fix them in Google Docs within your Google Doc file. But what I'd actually encourage you also to do is to use the plagiarism checker, because Grammarly will scan instances of where anything inside of your essay has been published online. And this will help you figure out if there's a missing citation or a missing link that you need to put in, or perhaps if you've overly paraphrased somebody and could potentially be at risk. Now, Grammarly costs $30 per month, and you will need to pay $30 per month to get access to the plagiarism checker. If you're not quite ready to pay $30, you could try the plagiarism checker in Quillbot, which comes at $20 per month. And then of course you do get the citation manager as well. Personally, I consider Grammarly a key part of my writing workflow because of its AI powered writing assistant, and it's something that can save a lot of time proofreading and fixing an essay prior to publication. Another option worth considering for checking your essays is Pro Writing Aid. Pro Writing Aid is popular with fiction writers, but I've also used it extensively on non-fiction. It has a lot more reports and checks that you can use if you really want to copy edit or fix how your essays sound. So you can see here, there's a grammar checker, a test for it. It'll check for overused sentences. It'll check for when you repeat yourself too much. It'll also give you some insights on the structure of your book or your essay, for example, when you start with adverbs too much, and so on. And it does have a plagiarism checker built into it as well. And it's a little bit more affordable than Grammarly. So it could be a good choice if you want to just simply purchase a grammar checker and plagiarism checker and use it once off and then move on to something else. But at the very least, I'd encourage you to, if you're going to use Pro Writing Aid, to use the grammar checker to fix any glaring mistakes. It'll take a few seconds to prepare a report, and then it'll outline all of these in red and then work through them one by one. I'd also encourage you to use the readability checker, because even though you're writing an essay or for academia, that doesn't mean that it should be difficult to read. So having something that's difficult to read doesn't necessarily make it any better. So do try and fix the difficult to read paragraphs, and that could help with your grade for your essay. And I'd always encourage you to use the plagiarism checker, which does cost extra. So you have to buy credits for the Pro Writing Aid plagiarism checker. But it will scan again for instances of where this is published online. And doing that should help you get your essay in good shape before publication. So I hope you enjoyed this video all about the best essay writing apps. In short, pick one or two that fit with your essay writing workflow. Have something for your research, have something for writing your essays, and have something that you can use to check your essays for plagiarism. Remember, producing the essay is always more important than spending time playing with the latest tools. That said, if you did find the video or the content in this video helpful, hit thumbs up. But if you want to get more videos like this, then don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Finally, in the notes below this video, I've included a link to an article where I profiled some of these apps and some other apps in more detail. So do go and check that out.